First of all, I want to say, in looking at those pictures, my husband and I have been working on just throwing different ideas together, and we kind of threw these together based on some information we'd gotten, but we hadn't looked at Howard's plan when we did this. So some of this might not have been on his original plan, but it was things we threw in not knowing what he had at the time. But we wanted to show this because it's got the live trees on it, so you can kind of see what it might look like when it's done. Part of my part of this section is just to kind of give a little bit of information and ask some questions as well. Part of the Betterment Committee's goal is to improve Odebolt. We've had lengthy discussions about the possibilities for improvements to the cityscape. The entrances is kind of where it started, Triangle Park, City Park, and as well as this downtown area, which has been improved here. But part of what we also do is to look at other things that have potential. What we call the West Lot here, with Howard's Lot is on the east side, and on the West Lot is one of the areas that we've looked at. There are also a few others around town. But what we need to know is some of, not our limitations, but what are other areas in town that might need improving upon. We thought you guys might have some ideas as you hear everything that goes on and see the different areas around town. We've thrown out a lot of ideas about how to improve specific lots. Right now we've kind of focused on the West Lot just because it's right across from where we live. We're kind of tired of staring at dirt and simple grass. We'd like to improve it there, and I think Howard's design is definitely going to improve the downtown area. I guess I have a couple of questions so that we know how to better direct our focus and which direction maybe to move with our next project once we get this one underway. One of them is, are there currently any plans for the building on the west side? Are there any plans for building on the west side of the lot, the one that's right across from Jim's TV?
To take it down, you mean?
No,
She wants to know if we have any plans.
Not that we're aware of. Nobody's presented a plan to us.
We'd heard that City Hall might potentially use that space for something.
Who knows? We really haven't discussed it in depth. It's just been bantered around a little bit.
Okay. If in looking at improving some of these areas, whether it's the West Lot or some other areas around town, or if there's more buildings to come down, I wanted to know what the possibilities of putting buildings back, be they a small building or a larger gazebo or areas like that.
You know, I've talked to a number of the board members about that lot right across the street from you. Mm-hmm. And the general feeling that I get is they want to complete this project first.
I understand that, and that's
I'm sure you do.
Yes.
And then see what happens. Maybe a business will come in and want to build a building. Somebody said, "Oh, you're dreaming." Well, maybe I am, but maybe I'm not. Mm-hmm. But I really think this part of the block, and from talking to members of the OBC, the consensus seems to be that they would like to see this done first.
Absolutely. But we're also looking at other ideas to see,
Sure.
if we're going to do this one, if it would flow into another lot or into some of the other buildings that might be taken on downtown. We don't want them to be completely separate individual spaces. We want to try and have a continuity.
I understand that.
And to do that, we kind of have to know, for idea's sake, what other options there might
And Bonnie, funding.
Oh, I understand.
Wow.
Oh, I understand.
Raising the money, do you have any suggestions on how we're going to raise the money for the second project,
I'm not worried about the money right now because we have to have an idea first. If we have no idea, we don't need the money.
Okay.
So we plan to get ideas out there because if we're just going to do green space as far as green grass, that's not going to take a lot of money. It's basically maintenance. But if we're going to move things in or build a gazebo or some other structure, then we need to know what's underneath of it, what the lay of the land is. We know that some of these buildings that have been taken down, they've kind of just shoved it in. So some of that may not be the best area to build on. But if we don't know of other buildings that might be taken down that might work, then we can see if there's a way to make sure that the ground underneath is a little bit more stable. But we have a lot of ideas, and we want to know if it's even worth putting any effort to those ideas, rather than just sitting here and just taking one single individual project without continuity throughout. So that's why part of what I'm here is to just ask some questions and see what the possibilities are.
The council certainly doesn't want to discourage the Betterment Committee on doing anything. You've done a wonderful job, and we want to keep it going. As I say again, I think this green space project, we can see that to completion. Howie, are you looking at this year for completion?
Oh, I hope we're done by
Summertime?
mid-July.
Oh boy, that'd be great.
I mean, it just depends on how, I mean, it's cement work basically, and the trees can be laid out and planted, and the Mid-America said they could come right to the corner. I mean, they've already looked at that, and they can come right to the corner there. And the only thing that we have to, and I got to talk to Bill about that, is how we fill that nice burial ground that's underneath the sidewalk there.
I think that sidewalk's going to have to be replaced.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of...
Well, I mean, and that's all hollow. See, that's all hollow, and I'm just afraid that, you know, if we don't have it done right and reinforced.
The sidewalk didn't go through the winter very well there anyway.
Okay, like we did in front of our place. I didn't do it in where we go into our entry, but the rest of it I had it re-rotted so that if anybody drove on it or anything, we're not going to crack it or break it or anything, you know, or, you know, we have bigger people at our office that come in, so they wouldn't crack it. But whatever happens there,
Was Mel going to bid on the sidewalk too? Was Mel going to bid on the whole sidewalk?
Yeah,
On the front too?
yeah.
Oh.
I'd like to ask a council.
Well, here's what, let me throw this out now, because thank you for bringing it up. Here's what I'm thinking. Because I've got the easy ones done. I've got the hard ones to do. I mean, I got the 100 and the 150s and you know, and when this project gets going and we get it all, and I'll have the front sidewalk bid in with you, Bill, and we get that all programmed, I mean, this green space that we have is kind of in that lot, and with that sidewalk tore up, I wanted to finish it off, but if we need, we might have to come back to the city if all this comes up to 39,000 and we have 37, and that sidewalk is there.
Well, you're just going to have to do that.
Oh, you got that, Todd?
Got it covered.
Okay, because I don't know what we got to fill that with, whether, you know, and pack it.
We may have to forego city streets.
Yeah, right. Well, there is a big hole there, and two of them. And one night, somebody, as a prank, had taken the lid off. So, you know, I think the sooner we get at it and get it filled, the better off it is.
Okay.
Because somebody could be walking down there and...
At this point, any council have a question they'd like to direct to anyone?